Do you fear death? Why not? It depends. If I have to suffer first and feel myself dying, then yes. If it's just like poof and I'm dead, then no. I don't believe in an afterlife, so I think I'm just gonna cease existing after death. That's oddly peaceful to think about. All my hopes and dreams, fears and anxieties wouldn't matter anymore. Whenever I get too tired of life, I'll think about death. It's not like I'm suicidal or anything. I just think it'd be nice to not have to do anything or feel anything anymore. My consciousness would return to the nothingness that it came from. Meditation on one's inevitable death should be performed daily. In the midst of a great fire, being struck by lightning, being shaken to death by a great earthquake, falling from 1,000-foot cliffs, dying of disease or committing seppuku at the death of one's master. And every day without fail one should consider himself as dead. Yamamoto Tsunetomo, Hagakure. Yeah. But also no. I've been wrestling with the idea a lot lately. On the one hand, the unknown is scary. On the other, I don't think we as humans are capable of conceiving what nothing truly is. When I think of nothing as a conscious being, I usually think of a pitch-black room, devoid of any sensory data. But that's just my mind's way of representing a lack of sensory stimulation. And that's still something. So true nothingness is probably totally different than how a lot of people imagine it. That's scary, but also comforting. I have Jesus. I keep jokingly tell other Christians, we have the best afterlife care plan when the conversation comes up. Of course, not in a rush to cash that in. Basically, I'm aware that death will one day be inevitable. Not looking forward to it, but I'm not worried about it either. In the end, everything will be okay for me, and for all. I hope I will be blessed with a long and happy life before that comes. Edit clarify first paragraph a bit easier. In not boasting, it more just dark humor. I used to think I'd be content when the time came. That after an experience where one wrong move could have ended with my death. I'm no longer okay with dying. I have so much I haven't done and so much I want to do. So many people that would be affected by my loss. I don't want to put anyone through something like that if it can be prevented. I know death is inevitable. But if I can choose to die of old age, then I'd choose that over anything else. So to answer your question, yes, I fear death. I never thought much about death until I witnessed my dad's battle with cancer and his passing. The fear and confusion in his eyes during his final moments left a lasting impact on me. Cleaning up after his surgeries made me realize the harsh reality of dying. The idea of cancer affecting everyone past 40 is unsettling. It's also disheartening to think about missing out on future discoveries and accomplishments as a species. I don't fear death. I fear what comes after. I'm very skeptical and don't really believe in anything religious or spiritual. So I don't have any strong beliefs on what comes after death. I hope there is still something. But part of me knows for sure that there is nothing. And humans literally cannot imagine what nothing is or isn't, so I get an intense feeling of dread whenever I try to think about it. I don't think I fear it, I just find it a bit upsetting. And I find it very odd to think one day I simply won't exist. Taking a piss. And I thought about it in a very real way for the first time. Thinking clearly that yes, one day I will cease to exist and all the things I enjoy doing I will never be able to do again. So many people here that don't fear death. I'm like, how? I believe in the afterlife, and even I fear death. I do sometimes question whether it is real or not. I want to believe it is real. My sister committed suicide years ago, and I want so badly to be able to see her again. My sister didn't fear death. Actually, she spoke of looking forward to it. I'm too young and love life too much. I don't understand. Essentially stoicism. I was given a terminal cancer diagnosis. Emotion will still find you. But it wasn't fear. I'll have to say goodbye. Clearly I am still here. So the best that can be said of it is expert failure. And I did have chemo. But I still don't have an oncologist. Such is life. However, Against all the odds, stoicism and memento mori works, even against the very real spectre of death. I never feared death. My dad died when I was young, so I always just figured it was part life. However, this year I got diagnosed with cancer at 32. I probably won't live till I'm elderly, and I fear death so much. It's like reading a book or watching a movie, and just as it gets good, the movie stops. You never find out what happens to all your favorite characters. What if I never see my son grow up? Deeply. Maybe it's the trade-off of not participating in religion. Plus being young and just starting to do work in the career I love. I want to travel. I want to build a happy life. And I look forward to the older decades where I can operate with more wisdom. The idea of dying early is incredibly unsettling, but I'm also too focused on day-to-day satisfaction and progress for the fear to hamper me. Cling, because if you try to remember anything before you magically gained consciousness, and you are under, for you can't. And if you do, it's just pure black, which is probably what you get after you die. The way you would only have pure darkness for all eternity when you die just frightens me. Before I had a kid, no. Now that I have a kid, yes. I'm afraid the hardship that he will endure when I suddenly pass away, and no one will support him. And my wife. I don't want that for them. The only time I would have no problem dying is if my son is already an adult, has his life together, and my wife is content, secure and happy that even if they lose me, they can now live a comfortable life. WP. About 20 years ago, I had an attack of pancreatitis. It was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. The pain of death doesn't scare me anymore. I'm not much of a religious guy, but I believe in Holy Trinity, and I'm basically a good guy. I'll make it to heaven, I'm pretty sure. So I'm ready to see what's next someday. Let's ride this out to the bitter end first. I don't think I do, but I think it's something you can only truly know when you almost die. I have situations where I could have died had I given in to my intrusive thought, or if I was standing 1 centimeter to the left or right. It made me think, oh shit, I could have been dead right now. I wasn't scared or anything, but I believe, right before it happens, that's when you truly find out. 'Cause, though I wish there was an afterlife in which I'd be free to explore the universe for eternity, I think there's nothing after death. Just your consciousness fading away as your brain shuts down. What I'm afraid of is forgetting what I've lived, which is what's going to happen in the second scenario. Ironically, I won't realize it when I lose my memories. Nope, our brains help us to ignore our own mortality. We have this primal mechanism that means when the brain gets information that links self to death, something tells us it's not reliable, so we shouldn't believe it. Yeah, Zeideman. By Elon University. I believe there is something after death. I'm not religious in the slightest, but there's a lot of reports from all over the world, and at all times, that suggest death isn't the end as we might think. I'm not afraid of it and might welcome it at some stage in my life, and I'm old and alone. The dying part, though, does scare me. I do fear the pain and fear. In that experiment with the marshmallow, I'm the kid who always eats the first one. It's not that I can't wait, or that I'm hungry, I just struggle to connect my current actions with future consequences. Right now, I don't fear death. The idea of dying feels distant and unreal, but when the time actually comes, I reckon I'll be absolutely terrified. I do now that I have my shit together. I used to be an IV drug user who was almost welcoming death. It seemed like the easier path to the life I was living. Ever since I got clean, married, and moved to a new country, I've been terrified of dying and leaving behind the life I worked so hard to build and the people in my life who I love so much. I did a bunch of drugs, and now I'm like, hey, honestly, with everything happening in your brain at that moment, it's probably a wild trip before you vanish into the ether. And I'm absolutely fine with that. That said, I'd prefer it be quick. I don't want to be in pain or suffering for long. Hit the eject button, diva. Death, no. Suffering, yes. Go, that death is inevitable, and there's nothing I can do to change that. So instead of worrying about things I can't change, I will instead focus in the parts of my existence that I can change, influence. I try and live my best life because tomorrow is never guaranteed, only yesterday is. The older you get, the more you get sick of the slog. Nothing is really exciting anymore. You've done it. The world doesn't have that same magic because you know it's all smoke and mirrors and full of idiots with all the power. If anything, you fear getting older, sicker, and less mobile. At least death will be a new adventure. I don't fear death. I fear not to be able to finish my missions in this world. I fear losing my loved ones. I fear bad things in this world, not the life after or the moment of death. Dying per se is simple. Living is hard. That life is also where the purpose is. So I hope I'll be around until I'm 150. I don't fear death simply because I believe when it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. God's plans OFC. I don't do really stupid shit, but like riding a motorcycle is the same thing for me as driving a car. When it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen, whether it's in a car, bike or airplane. No, I'm actually looking forward to it more than anything. The fact that you don't have to deal with life ever again is such a blessing, man. The only thing, I don't want to die nobody. I want to leave a big impact on some people some way, somehow. But do I fear death? Absolutely not. I embrace it.